Good morning. Welcome to my class today. You can see we are joining the class, and I want us to get right straight to the course. Today, I want us to learn about the introduction to computer programming, and this is a very important course because every time you open a browser, you are interacting with a web application. This is the basis of a web application. So having the knowledge about internet programming is very, very important. It's very, very important in today's world because you'll be able to, for example, create your own website. You can be able to do a lot of things, interact with the web pages and all that. So, by the end of the lesson today, we'll be able to define the term, we'll be able to define the terms. For example, we'll be able to define the term, for example, internet. We'll be able to define the term programming. We'll be able to define the term web client. We'll be able to define the term web server. And then we'll also be able to define the term World Wide Web. We'll also, the second objective, will be able to explain what is internet-based programming. Okay, that's a very, very important objective. We'll be able to explain what is internet-based programming. And the final objective, we will be able to describe the World Wide Web. World Wide Web. What is World Wide Web? World Wide Web. We'll be able to know more about that. So let's go straight to our note. And as we start, okay, let me make sure everything is, yeah, I can see we are joining. So, introduction to internet-based programming. So the first thing, okay. So the first thing I want us to define today, I want us to define what is internet. Internet, this is a global system of interconnected computer network that use the internet protocol suite to communicate between networks and devices. So internet is a interconnected is a network that uses that uses a protocol called transfer control protocol and the IP protocol to communicate. So it's like a small network. It's like no, it's like a network, but it's not a small network. It's a big network that is covering the whole world. So that's why we are talking about an interconnection. So computers are interconnected to form a bigger network, and they are interconnected using the TCP/IP protocol. The second term is web programming. Web programming refers to the writing, markup, and decoding involved in web development. So web programming, there is writing, there is markup, there is coding. What writing? Just writing. So let's look at this word markup. What is markup? Markup language. A markup language is a computer language that uses tag to define elements within a document. So we'll see this one later in practical, but for now we have seen that markup language is a computer language that uses tag to define element within a document. Two, it is human readable. Markup file contains standard word rather than typical programming syntax. For example, we have an example of HTML. HTML is a HTML is an example of a markup language, but we'll do practical in our next class. So the next one is coding. Coding is basically the computer language used to develop application website and software. Yeah, for example, we have example of coding language. We have JavaScript. We have PHP. Yeah, those are some of the example of coding language or computer language. The next one, the next term that I want us to look is web content. Web content, these are text, visuals, or audio content that is made available online. It may include text, image, sounds, and audio, online videos, among other items placed within web page. Yeah, those all we refer to them as web content. What is a web client? Web client, we can simply say that web client is the client side, user side of the web. Typically, refer to web, for example, we refer to web browser. Web browser is an example of a web client. For example, we have examples of web browsers. We have, for example, of web browser, we have Google Chrome, we have Microsoft Edge. Yeah. So the next one, the next very important term is web server. What is a web server? A web server is a computer that runs a website. Yep. Web server is a computer that runs a website. Yeah, we have seen a web client, it's on the client side. Web server, it's at the back there, running a website. It normally uses the TCP/IP protocol. The web server delivers web page to browser as well as other data file to web-based application. Yeah, we have seen that. So the next thing that I want us to look about is World Wide Web, and we'll do that through a video. I want us to watch a video. I have shared a video through your WhatsApp. Let's follow the link of that. Let's follow the link of that video. It's our YouTube video that explains World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web, where you're likely watching this video, is used by millions of people every day for everything from checking the weather, ordering food, and chatting with friends to raising funds, sharing news, or starting revolutions. We use it from our computers, our phones, even our cars. It's just there, all around us, all the time. But what is it exactly? Well, first of all, the World Wide Web is not the internet, even though the terms are often used interchangeably. The internet is simply the way computers connect to each other in order to share information. When the internet first emerged, computers actually made direct calls to each other. Today, networks are all around us, so computers can communicate seamlessly. The communication enabled through the internet has many uses, such as email, file transfer, and conferencing. But the most common use is accessing the World Wide Web. Think of the web as a bunch of skyscrapers, each representing a web server. A computer always
Okay, I'll leave you to watch that one later, but at least we have seen what is our World Wide Web. Okay, I'll leave you later to watch that one. We have seen that web is just commonly is World Wide Web is commonly known as a web. That is a collection of websites or web pages stored in a web server connected to local computer through the internet. We have seen that, for example, we have our web page is given an online address called Uniform Resource Locator. For example, you have an URL, for example, the www.kttc.ac.ke. That's an example of a URL. And we have come to the end of our lesson. What have you learned today? Today we have defined terms, for example, internet, programming, web content, web server. Yeah, we have explained what is internet-based programming. We have watched also a video describing World Wide Web. And for our assignment is right here. I want the learner to explain, I want you to explain the role of website in today's society. I want you to explain the role of website in today's society or in today's organization. Yeah, and that's it. We have come to the end of our class. Thank you for your cooperation. Let's meet next week. Thank you.